90.1 FM, KKFI, Kansas City Community Radio. This is Changing Narratives with Brother Jay. Want to welcome everyone to another program. Super excited to be here on this Saturday here in KC. First Saturday in December, December 6th, a very, very special day in the Hawkins household. Have to send a very, very happy birthday to my sister, my second mother, who has meant so much to me, my sister Gidget Jackney. Want to wish her a very, very happy birthday. I was able to call her and sing to her a little earlier, so hopefully her eardrums have recovered and she is enjoying the rest of her birthday. But like I said, I want to welcome everyone to another program. It is a great Saturday here in Kansas City for early December. Cannot complain about the weather. If you are listening to us on kkfi.org, wherever you are at, I hope you are having a wonderful weekend. Like I said, we are now into the official holiday season. Want to encourage everyone, please, let's just continue to try to be empathetic and show some care and concern for our fellow citizens, not just through the holidays, but every day. But let's be especially sensitive to what folks are going through in this holiday season. And so I want to always encourage our audience to be the best that we can be on a day-to-day basis, and that includes how we treat one another. So, we have a couple of things that we're going to go cover on this program. I'm flying solo today. Got to send a shout out to Brother Brown, who is handling some family business. I definitely got to send him a shout out. Not necessarily in studio solo. Super happy to have my son, my production assistant, Jalen, in the building with me. He is always an inspiration, so good to have him here with me today. And so, like I said, we're going to jump into a couple of stories. We had December 4th here, and there was a story where the FBI, after 5 years, was able to locate and effect an arrest of one Brian Cole Jr., the man who was accused of planting pipe bombs outside of both the Democratic National Committee and the Republican National headquarters as well. And so, I just find the timing of his arrest interesting. It just happened to fall on the anniversary of the assassination of Chairman Fred Hampton. And so I felt that it would be appropriate to talk about that story, but also shed some light and spend a little bit of time really talking about Fred Hampton. What a honorable, just a giant that he was, and to have his life taken at the young age of 21 really just shows just how powerful the FBI, deemed him. And so we're going to spend some time really celebrating him and just really marveling at what he was able to accomplish at the young age of 21. But like I said, we're going to start today off with some sound from a story from The Hill on Brian Cole Jr., the young man that they arrested for the pipe bomb. So we're going to listen to that sound and come back and have a little bit of commentary around that.
Back to the D.C. pipe bomb case by Ryan Mancini. Federal authorities announced Thursday that an arrest had been made in the nearly 5-year-long investigation of pipe bombs planted outside of the Democratic and Republican National Committee offices the evening before the January 6, 2021 attack on the Capitol. Brian Cole Jr., 30, was arrested at his home in Woodbridge, Virginia, and charged with transporting an explosive device in interstate commerce and attempted malicious destruction by means of explosive materials. The first count carries a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison, and the second carries a maximum sentence of 20 years. Cole did not enter a plea during his first court appearance on Friday. Prosecutor Charles Jones said the government will prioritize certain discovery, which includes a 4-hour-long custodial interview with the suspect. Pipe bombs planted. DC's Metropolitan Police Department, MPD, located and removed 2 pipe bombs found at the 2 party offices. Chief Robert Canty told reporters on January 6, 2021. In the months that followed, the FBI released video footage of a possible suspect wearing a hoodie, Nike Air Max Speed turf sneakers, and a face mask. They initially released a $50,000 reward for any information that would lead to the suspect, before increasing to $75,000 and then $100,000. The footage showed the suspect wearing a backpack walking on a sidewalk to the party offices. The video spanned from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m., the time frame that the FBI said the bombs were placed. These pipe bombs were viable devices that could have been detonated, resulting in injury or death, Stephen Danchuona, the then assistant director in charge of the FBI's Washington field office, who has since retired, said at the time. Suspect identified. Cole was employed in the office of a bail bondsman in Northern Virginia, according to charging documents obtained by NBC News. He graduated from Hilton High School in 2013. The suspect is one of 4 children, with no voter registration and no criminal record, the Associated Press reported. A former high school classmate told the AP that Cole did not speak much. He did not stand out, the classmate said. As far as I remember, he was well behaved and quiet. Following his arrest on Thursday, Cole confessed to FBI officials that he planted the bombs outside the offices. He also said he believed controversies around the 2020 presidential election, according to NBC. Despite this, a clear motive has not been revealed. Before and after his loss to former President Biden, President Trump claimed the election was rigged. Following his arrest, a neighbor told NBC that Cole kept to himself and was often seen walking a chihuahua. Just not somebody that I would pick as somebody who would want to hurt anyone for any reason, the neighbor told the news outlet. Just seemed to be a quiet guy who enjoyed walking his dog and kept to himself. A relative of Cole's told local station WSA9, a CBS affiliate, that the suspect's more like a child and that he did not do it, what led to Cole's arrest. After years with few developments in the probe, U.S. Attorney for D.C. G9 Pirro said Thursday that forensic evidence led to Cole's arrest. Pirro noted that more than 230,000 end caps resembling those used to make the bombs have been sold. The suspect allegedly purchased 12 black end caps and 2 galvanized end caps from 4 different Home Depot stores in Northern Virginia from October 2019 to November 2020, along with various other items, according to the criminal complaint. Other evidence included his cell phone data, which showed the phone was connected to towers in the area of the 2 offices on January 5th, per the filing. Cole's car was also seen driving near the South Capitol Street exit less than half a mile from where surveillance footage caught the suspect planting the bombs. Law enforcement scrambled to respond, with officers already focused on the rally that moved toward the Capitol as lawmakers were preparing to certify Biden's win. Fortunately, these bombs did not explode, although they certainly could have. But make no mistake, the alleged pipe bomber did terrorize our community, Darren Cox, the assistant director in charge of the Washington field office, said on Thursday. The government is seeking to detain Cole before trial. His next hearing is scheduled for December 15th.
90.1 FM KKFI, Kansas City Community Radio. This is Changing Narratives with Brother Jay, and that was some sound from an article that was published on the Hill around the suspect Brian Cole, who was arrested, and charged with, setting those pipe bombs and, on January 6, 2021. And just so many different, I don't even want to say ironies, but just layers to this story. The fact that the Trump administration pardoned everyone who had been convicted of any sort of charges related to that January 6th event that most of us watched and observed. And I have to be completely honest. Watching that event, I can remember it very, very vividly and thinking to myself, oh my God, these people are losing their minds. And the last thing that I was thinking was that a black man was going to end up being the face of what took place on January 6th. It's not funny, but that's one of the things that popped into my mind as this story developed. And then, like I said, the fact that the Trump administration has already pardoned, I want to say it was over 1,800 people related to that event. And so what do you do with this man who is clearly well, if we are to trust what the FBI is putting out, that he identified himself as a Trump supporter. And so it will be interesting to see how this is pursued. I don't know if maybe it's just me that I find it odd that for an event that was played down and made to be everything but an insurrection, for the FBI to keep an open investigation on an event that the bombs didn't go off, no one was actually injured. When you've pardoned people who actually did injure police officers, who did breach the Capitol. And so I just find that interesting. Maybe it's just me. And so it's going to be, I don't know how this story will play out, but, and then, like I said, the further irony of this just happening to fall on the anniversary of the assassination of Fred Hampton, and knowing the sort of leadership that we have, or lack of leadership, at the FBI, with the clown show known as Kash Patel. I don't put anything past this particular administration and the folks that they have employed in so many very, very important positions. I mean, it is laughable that Kash Patel is the head of the FBI. And so, this story is going to continue to develop, of course. And like I said, it's going to be interesting to me in what the ways in which this story is framed in mainstream media. How many times we are going to see Brian Cole Jr.'s image flashed in front of our faces. I'm sure you could hear from the language that they're already labeling him as a terrorist to the community. And so, like I said, it's going to be very interesting to see how this story plays out in the media over the next, months here. With so much else going on, it's kind of crazy. This story may end up getting lost in the shuffle with all of the other madness, but I'm definitely going to continue to follow it and pay attention, because once again, as a black man in America, it just feels like the latest example of us being made the face of something that we didn't have anything to do with, or not necessarily, even if we didn't have anything to do with it. If we do it once, we become the face of it, whereas other people do it all the time and they're not. And so, I laugh, but it's very, very troubling that this continues to happen. And then to turn around and hear other people complaining about the way in which they are portrayed in the media. Like I said, it's laughable and it's frustrating at the same time. But I digress, because I do want to make sure that, like I said, we are going to celebrate the life of Fred Hampton and all of the things that he attempted to do for our community and the giant that he actually was. And so we are actually up against our first break. So if you're just tuning in, you are listening to 90.1 FM KKFI Kansas City Community Radio. This is Changing Narratives with Brother Jay, and we'll be back after this quick break. 90.1 FM KKFI Kansas City Community Radio. This is Changing Narratives with Brother Jay, and I want to welcome everyone back from our break, and thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I really sincerely appreciate it. Before we went to break, I alluded to the fact that, like I said, we want to spend some time celebrating the life of Fred Hampton and all that he meant in our community. And so I want to play some sounds, some snippets from some of his speeches, and just have some conversation around that. But before I jump into that, I want to make sure and give him a proper intro. So today, we take a moment to honor the life, legacy, and truth of Fred Hampton, a 21-year-old revolutionary whose vision for love, unity, and liberation was so powerful that the federal government labeled him a threat. Fred Hampton didn't just organize, he inspired. He built coalitions, he fed children, he educated communities, and dared to imagine a world where poor people of all races stood together. And because of that, the FBI targeted him. infiltrated his organization, and ultimately assassinated him and ended his life on December 4th, 1969. In this segment, we're going to hear Fred Hampton in his own words, his passion, his clarity, and the promise that he represented. And we're also going to hear how the FBI described him in their own internal memos, so we can understand the level of fear and hostility that the government held toward a young black man whose greatest weapon was his ability to unite people. So this is not just history. It's a reminder of the cost of justice, the price of truth-telling, and the power of a voice that refuses to be silent. So as we remember Chairman Fred Hampton, it's also important that we remember that things didn't just stop with his assassination. And so we're going to listen to some sound from him and come back and have some conversation about it.
And a lot of people don't understand the Black Panther Party's relationship with white mother country radicals. A lot of people don't even understand that word that they're refusing to lie. But what we're saying is that there are white people in the mother country that are for the same type of things that we are for stimulating revolution in the mother country. And we said that we work with anybody, form coalition with anybody that has revolution on their mind. We're not a racist organization because we understand that racism is an excuse used for capitalism. And we know that racism is a byproduct of capitalism. Everything would be all right if everything was put back in the hands of the people. And we're going to have to put it back in the hands of the people. Everybody in the state of Illinois is going to have to be involved or even around the revolution because we're going to have one. We're going to have to do more than talk. We're going to have to do more than listen. We're going to even have to do more than learn. We're going to have to start practicing, and that's very hard. We got to start learning, and you learn through practice. We got to start making mistakes, and you learn through making mistakes. We got to start getting out there with the people. And a lot of times we think we're better than the people. That's an insult, and that's criminal. Think you're better than the people. But we got to get together and learn where it's at. It's going to take a lot of hard work. Education for children is something else. You ought to dig on it. Every sister in this audience. Now, every sister in this audience ought to get yourselves together and come on down and help us with that Breakfast for Children program. Y'all just come down and help feed them children in the morning. We have Breakfast for Children because we teach the people through practice, through observation and participation, that people can be fair free. That people think socialism is the people. You're afraid of yourself. If you're afraid of socialism, you're afraid of yourself. We know they have our pictures, we know they're looking for us, we know they want us, but we're still saying that even though we could be in a sense, as far as this system goes, on the mountaintop, we in the Black Panther Party, because of our dedication and understanding what's in the valley, knowing that the people in the valley, knowing that we originally came from the valley, knowing that our flag is the same flag as the people in the valley, knowing that our enemy is on the mountaintop, our freedom is in the valley, we say even though it's nice to be on the mountaintop, we're going back to the valley. I be in the office every day. I be in the streets propagandizing every day. I be working with everybody every day. I be teaching that solidarity is the thing. The end of a complete whiteout of the buildings is the thing. So if you're going to be thinking about me, that's what Bible will be teaching. If you're going to be thinking about us, all we say is ain't no thing about going nowhere, getting killed. All we want to know is that you're doing what we'd be doing if we were here.
90.1 FM, KKFI, Kansas City Community Radio. This is Changing Narratives with Brother Jay. And that was some sound from a couple of speeches from Fred Hampton. And like I said, you can just hear the power and the passion in his voice at the age in some of these speeches of 19, 20 years old. And just to be that committed at such an early age was just more than some folks could stand. And the fact that the FBI opened a file on Fred Hampton when he was a junior or senior in high school. And so I just want to let that sit for a moment. The fact that the FBI opened a file on Fred Hampton when he was a senior or in high school, and the fact that they followed him and deemed him such a threat, not because he was organizing young black kids and having them going out and robbing folks, but because he started a breakfast for children's program. And when the police went in to arrest them, they didn't just arrest them, they went in and burned the cereal that they had collected and the breakfast that they collected for the children. I mean, I'm not making this up. This is a part of the history of the United States government and the atrocities that have been carried out in the name of the United States government. And the fact that Fred Hampton, like I said, at the age of 21 years old, younger than Dr. King, younger than Malcolm X, was described as having such power that he could unite people, not just black people. He united poor white people. He united poor Latinos. And so he brought so many different people into this fold and understood that we are all victims to this system where you have 1% oppressing the rest of us, and we're fighting for scraps. And like I said, and for him to be so young and recognize that and be empowered enough and feel emboldened enough to risk his own life and know that these people are gunning for you, and to still go out there and speak truth to power. That's what we should be celebrating. And I haven't even jumped into when we're talking about the specifics of what he was saying relative to there's absolutely no reason for anyone out here to be going without. We are at a time where in this world we have access to so many resources. We have access to provide enough for everyone. I mean, we're talking about food, we're talking about medicine, everything. And these folks want to convince us that somehow that's wrong, that no, we don't have enough. And if somehow somebody else has, then you don't have. And, being a 55-year-old black man and being subjected to this propaganda for 50 plus years, you're just watching history continually repeat itself. And so we're going to go and we're going to listen to some more sound. We are now about 31 minutes past the hour of 5 o'clock. So if you are just tuning in, you are listening to 90.1 FM KKFI, Kansas City Community Radio. This is Changing Narratives with Brother Jay. And we're going to listen to some more sound. But I want to break things up a little bit. Like I said, it's the holiday season. I love music. Anyone that knows me knows I love music. I have been listening to this De La Soul album nonstop since it came out. I'm a huge De La fan. So we're going to listen to a song from their new project, come back and listen to some more sound from Fred Hampton as well. 90.1 FM KKFI, Kansas City Community Radio. This is Changing Narratives with Brother Jay. And that was the sounds from De La Soul from their new project, Cabin in the Sky, and their song A Different World, produced by the great Pete Rock. Like I said, one of my favorite projects, loving it. For an old hip-hop head like myself, De La really, really brought it with this project. Rest in peace to my man Dave, who was one of the founders of De La Soul, one of my favorite MCs, and so they really did a great job on this project, really honoring his legacy. So, got to give a shout out to De La. And so before we went to before we went to that music, we were listening to some sound from Fred Hampton, like I said, paying tribute to him on the anniversary a couple of days after the anniversary of his assassination on December 4th, 1969. Someone who, like I said, at the young age of 21 was deemed so dangerous by the FBI that, he was needed to be exterminated. So we're going to go back and listen to some sound because it just shows how some things are timeless relative to his thoughts on society and taking care of one another, and his thoughts on socialism and racism and its proximity to capitalism, and how so many of these things are playing themselves out today in real time as we talk about affordability and the way in which we have allowed these corporations to really price us out of a decent life. And so it's just ironic, well, not ironic, but just, the beat goes on. And so we have to continue to fight with the same sort of passion that Brother Fred left us with. So we're going to go back and listen to some sound from him.
Fight fire and water, bitch. We gonna fight racism, not racism, but we gonna fight with solidarity. We said we're not gonna fight capitalism with black capitalism, but we going to fight with socialism. We stood up and said we're not going to fight reactionary pigs and reactionary state's attorneys like this and reactionary state's attorneys like Hammerhand with any other reactions on our part. We're going to fight their reactions with all of us people to get together and have an international proletarian revolution. Right on. We don't think you fight fire with fire, bitch. We think you fight fire with water, bitch.
90.1 FM, KKFI, Kansas City Community Radio. Now you guys can see from the production piece why Brother Brown is so important to have in studio. But before we went into that sound, like I said, from Fred Hampton, when you listen to him talking about, we're not going to fight racism with racism. We're going to fight it with solidarity. And, what has been done relative to this class warfare and getting us, like I said, pitting us at the bottom all against one another while those at the top continue to feast, and just how timely and how relevant his words still are today. And so we are actually up against our second break, and we're going to listen to a little bit more sound from Brother Fred when we come back from break. But just really thank you guys for tuning in today. I really, really appreciate it. And, there's just so much going on right now, these times that we're living in. It's almost, like I said, living and watching history repeat itself with all of the madness. And so as a community, we have got to figure out a way to come together and really start to address these crises in a very, very real way, starting with the education of our children. We have got to make sure that this next generation is much better prepared than we were. So before we get up out of here, I am going to play some sound from the 100 Black Men have their dollars and cents program that's coming up, where they take these high school students and they teach them financial literacy, very, very important program. So we're going to listen to some sound from that when we come back after this break. 90.1 FM, KKFI, Kansas City Community Radio. This is Changing Narratives with Brother Jay. And flying solo in here today, so trying to get some more sound together for the story that we've been doing on the sound that we've been playing from Fred Hampton. And like I said, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Just 1 second here. Well, anyway, we'll get the sound together. And so, like I said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And before we get up out of here, we are also going to hear some sound from the, like I said, the Dollars and Cents program that the 100 Black Men of KC is going to have starting here in a few weeks. And so, matter of fact, since we do have that sound ready, I think we're going to go ahead and go to that sound. This is I have to put this disclaimer out here. This was a spot that my younger cousin actually did, Noah Evans, for 100 Black Men of KC and their dollars and cents program. So he was a young man who participated in the program, and then he ended up doing an advertisement for it. So we're going to actually go to that sound right now.
Like trying to move on from the Nike tapes to the quarter zips, you gotta have money to support the look. That's why you need to enroll in the Dollars and Cents program. My name is Noah Evans, a freshman at Morehouse College, and I major in business marketing. Real talk, I took the Dollars and Cents program in high school, and that's what taught me how to be efficient with my money in college. Cause in college, you ain't got no source of income for you. Gotta learn how to budget your money for the Ubers, the parties, the DoorDash, and especially, you gotta have your hair right. The Dollars and Cents program is a 10-week experience run by the 100 Black Men of Greater Kansas City and Alpha Phi Alpha. And last year, over 100 students applied from 40 different schools. Make sure you apply now because spots are limited. In the Dollars and Cents program, you get hands-on money skills and business mentors. And they literally pay you to open a brokerage account, which is to invest. That's a quick $100.
The earlier you start, the greater the value creation. And so starting them out young allows them to capitalize on one of their biggest assets, which is time.
In addition, there are cash prizes for the essay contest and my personal favorite, the stock market challenge. The Dollars and Cents financial mentors in Kansas City are so elite that last year we won the national championship in New Orleans. And this year's stock market challenge winners will get a chance to compete in New York City. Now that you got your quarter zip on with the shadur, it's time to get some real money in your pockets. Enroll to the Dollars and Cents program at 100blackmenkc.com. And remember, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense.
90.1 FM, KKFI, Kansas City Community Radio. Like I said, that was some sound from advertisement for the Dollars and Cents program that 100 Black Men of KC do annually. That program headed up by Lauren Crenshaw, great man, doing great things in the financial community. And he has had several championship teams from Kansas City and from other areas of the country, but he is a financial guru, a great resource. And so we are going to have sit down and have a conversation with a couple of brothers from 100 Black Men, the KC chapter next week, and probably air that program over the next couple of weeks. So I'm super excited. Like I said, a great organization that is doing really good things in our community. Want to send them a shout out as well. And so not going to worry about the other sound from Fred Hampton and his speeches. Those snippets are out there. But just kind of wanted to get across just how, committed and how far ahead of his time that he actually was. And just the fact that, like I said, it just feels so familiar with so much with what we're going through right now. And I just think that, fortunately, you don't get to learn about someone like Fred Hampton, if you go through the public educational system. And so it is incumbent upon us as a community to tell his story, to make sure that our children understand what they come from and what is possible when you are committed. And so, and then, like I said, just the irony of the FBI arresting Brian Cole Jr. On the anniversary of his assassination, that just was not lost on me. So hope you guys did enjoy the segment that we did on Fred Hampton. And if you did not know about him, hope it would encourage you to find more information out about Fred Hampton. And like I said, when we talk about politically what is going on and the way in which they have turned socialism into such a bad word, but in spite of that, when you look at the way in which the new mayor of New York City, the way in which he campaigned as a democratic socialist, and the way that his message resonated with such a huge group of people, a huge group of Democratic voters. There's something to be said for that. And unfortunately, it seems like the leadership at the Democratic Party is doing everything that they can to try to distance themselves from that sort of message. And once again, I mean, when you have both political parties feeding, at the same trough, then it's hard to get any separate messaging. And, unfortunately, there's a bunch of the Democrats who are being paid by the same lobbyists who want to convince you that wanting to have social programs in place is somehow wrong, that wanting to take care of those who have less than, that somehow that's wrong. Unless, of course, you want to allow the Dell family to create this fund, some sort of a fund to give out to young children or whatever. But that's just not sustainable. We should not, as a society, be dependent upon private philanthropy to pave our roads, or to take care of homeless people, or to have mental health facilities. We can't just wait on, when they feel like, doing something for a particular cause to fund these sort of programs. And that's what they're pushing us towards. When you have this amount of wealth concentrated at the top, I cannot say it enough. It's just not sustainable. And so we, as Brother Fred Hampton said, the power is in the people. It is up to us to demand that these things are made affordable. The things are not going to change just with words. The only thing that this country really understands is action and activity. And so, like I said, we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of educating that needs to happen. And like I said, a lot of action that needs to take place. And so we are now getting close to about 10 minutes before the hour of 6 o'clock. Want to encourage everyone, please stay tuned at the top of the hour for Roots Wise Reggae. Like I said, Saturday night, always a good time to hear a little reggae music, change the mood. And so want to send a shout out to Rock and Donna and her program. Like I said, always provides some good tunes. So stay tuned at 6 o'clock for that. And so we're going to get wrapped up. I am super excited for the rest of this month here at Changing Narratives. We have quite a few guests lined up, different programs that we're going to do. And so I am super excited to continue to bring this information to the community. As they say, KKFI is keeping the community fully informed. And that's what we want to do here at Changing Narratives. And so there's so much work to be done right now. So much that we need to be opposing, and then so many things that we need to be promoting. And so we're going to continue to push and, like I said, work to change these narratives out of here. And so we are going to get up out of here. But before we go, like I said, I have been on this De La album. And so I do want to play one more track before we get up out of here. And then like I said, please stay tuned at the top of the hour for Roots Rise Reggae. But the track we're going to get up out of here with is a track that features Slick Rick, and it's kind of a play on the song that he had back in the day called Young World, and it's featuring Common. So like I said, we're going to go out with this song from De La.